Hey everybody, on this episode of the MacGyver After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 7, Can Opener. Find out what you need if you want to stage your own jailbreak. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ah, yes. The familiar sounds of MacGyver's
Yes, indeed.
80s theme. Look at that, everybody. We are back here on the MacGyver After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV, and I am no longer alone.
I feel terrible. I felt like,
Reunited, and it feels so good.
reunited and it feels so
Yes.
good. I don't know who sings that. That's
It's a Peaches and Herb, right?
Peaches and Herb?
Yeah.
I'll say yes to that.
I think that sounds like a good pull. Hey, everybody, welcome to the MacGyver After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're breaking down Season 1, Episode 7, Can Opener. I am one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. And finally, after 5 weeks alone...
Oh, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's just talking to you folks, and I loved all the support in the chat. Loved it. I have my partner in crime, Mike Kalinowski, back.
Hey, everybody, I'm back. I have to apologize. It was not an unforeseen thing. I knew I had the job, and Halloween had taken over with the theme park stuff and Universal Studios, and commitment to that. But, man, I hope you enjoyed, because I got to watch on my own time the show, but also watch the AfterBuzz. But if you're like me, are you okay? Like I got a topic I like. I can talk.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where people are like, Mike, all right, you can stop talking, Mike. I have to censor myself in rooms where I'm with a group of people, like on the panel for DC or something, where I'm like, oh, it's just not just me talking. I gotta, share. I gotta be nice to people. We gotta talk. It's not a one-sided conversation, which a lot of my relationships have always been just me talking.
Just me. Well, speaking of that, you said that you kept up with the show.
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
curious to think. It's been 5 episodes have gone in between the times that we have done the first show.
We had the pilot and 5, and now Can Opener.
Yes. So now, how have you enjoyed the series?
I am in between. I think I'm maybe missing 2, but they're not back to back. This has been the first fall in so long where there's so many shows out there. Like that I want to watch week after week. Usually after like 1 or 2 episodes, I'm like, all right, I'm out. That's off the DVR. I'm curious. I know when we first talked in the first one that like the words popping up for stuff that he uses. That's still in there. They're keeping that, so I thought that might go away, but that's there. But I'm, I love that it's standalone episodes. It's not a. I should have had this prepared with. It's serial. But it's not every episode you got to watch and build in like Walking Dead, where it's like you can pop in for 1 episode, and you're caught up. You know what you're doing. It's got threads that run through it with the characters and their history, but it's just episode of the week, and I love that.
Very true. You feel like they just set up little breadcrumbs that they can come back at any time of the season and kind of pick up and continue.
It's a through line that will continue forever with her character and the whole jail history that popped up in this week. But for just throwing it on TV for 45 minutes, you get your fill. And I love that about the show. And
when it was announced that they were successul enough to get the back nine picked up, Mike's the first one that texted that out to me. It's like, hey, guess what?
I saw it. I think actually, I want to say someone on Twitter sent it out to me because I was like getting ready to come into the show or something, and they sent it up, and I was like, oh, fantastic.
That's right.
So that's up there. Still no talk of Richard Dean Anderson coming in.
I know,
which is weird. Now, I don't know if you've talked about it because I don't know if he's on the show yet. In the original TV show, he had a rival. I believe his name was Murdoch.
Yes.
This is kind of his... Now, is that the episode I missed? Has he popped up yet?
He's coming in next week's episode.
Okay, because I didn't want to spoil it because I had seen a casting notice for the character. Now, this is like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I screenshotted it somewhere where I read it that it was popping up because I wanted to remember to talk about it. But the episodes I've seen, he hasn't popped up yet, so I guess he's been cast.
Yes.
Obviously, he's popping next week. He is, if you guys ever watched the old show or haven't, Murdoch is like MacGyver's Joker to his Batman. It's like his Moriarty to Sherlock. Yeah. It's their characters that are always there. He's just as good as him. On the old show, he was like a master of disguise, too, so I wonder if that'll play into it.
Yeah,
but it's exciting.
It looked like from the preview that I saw for next week, at least one point where he is wearing a mask, it looks kind of like, so I don't know if that was just, I don't know the context of that scene.
I did not stay to the end of, because I watch it on the CBS app.
Ah, gotcha.
That's how I watch it, so it ends the credits, and then I guess there's a little tag on the end for the next week's, but I did not watch that, so Oh, I'm excited now. I'm excited.
So I'll be curious. So I don't know what he looks like without the mask on.
Okay.
I saw one scene where he's got a disguise on, and then you just see like the lips talking on a phone.
Let's see if I'll pull up. If we're talking, I'm going to see if the actor was cast. So
while Mike pulls that up, we'll start talking a little bit about this episode.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a can opener, the subject of this episode, and it starts off there in Serbia chasing some bad guy, and Max talking about
always chasing bad guys.
Chasing bad guys always starts off. I like that. I like this. The template of the show where it's usually they're kind of joining them mid sequence of some previous mission.
Yeah,
they're kind of wrapping up the end of it. And Max usually kind of relating some kind of life story about it as well. And this time it's about a dog that he had growing up, Archimedes.
Yeah, that was cool.
As a dog person,
yes. I'm all on board for it. Like, it's funny because I know the voiceovers are a through line. It's a holdover from the old show. And I feel it kind of takes me out of it sometimes because I'm trying to watch the action, but they're talking and I'm trying to find out what's going on. And with him, you always want to watch something because you don't know what he's looking at and what he's going to build and whatnot. So you're just kind of like, there's a lot going on at one time.
Yeah, and I felt like his ingenious thing is that he took propane and a fire hose, and then that's when he was able to spray the ground and make a ring of fire for Jack to shoot.
You know, it's cool because the show seems at times very formulaic, but then it does something like, I did not think of that. They go a completely opposite way what you thought. Like I saw the things he was kind of doing, I was like, what's he going to do? Was he setting like a net? It was going to be something. So then the Ring of Fire kind of it's unique. The writers, that's got to be a challenging show to write.
Yeah, especially when you want to stage something kind of really cool and flashy for like the intro of your episode, and then like, that was just cool, little toss away, and then we actually get into what the real episode's going to be about.
Murdoch is not listed in next episode who it is, so maybe it's a secret, maybe it's a well-known actor, so maybe they got someone.
Is it going to be like the old Batman 66 show where they always listed it as a question mark, but false face was on there?
Oh my God! Or is it Richard Dean Anderson? Can you imagine if they did that? He said, "No, I don't want to do the show. I don't want to be a part of it." And it's a big swerve, and who knows?
And then he's Murdoch.
We'll see.
Oh, that would be
he's
very
not
cool.
listed.
Now we get after that little cold open, we get to my least favorite part of this series, and I want us to get your feeling about it.
You know,
as well.
I know what you're going to say because I was thinking about, I was watching the show at work today, and I know we're talking about it because it's the same thing. It's a sore thumb. It's the roommate, right?
Yes.
And I thought about it. I'm like thinking back. He never showed back up in the episode. They were apartment hunting. Like, it's funny because Burbank, that's where I live, and that whole thing popped up. I was like, oh, okay, I relate to that. There it is. But I don't get it. I don't get his. I remember when we said from the pilot, like he was kind of a new addition, that character, when they redid the pilot. And I like the actor. I think he's funny, but it just didn't do anything. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to establish a home life for him. I just kind of think that would have been better serviced with the main plot, just that screen time, like 2-3 minutes, whatever.
I feel like this is such a weak point because I don't understand what he brings to the series.
And it's not like Mac was at home with him, like ever. So it's not like, I don't know. Is he there just for one episode? Someday he's going to be kidnapped. That he's brought into stuff like that.
I guess. Because I feel like the only options with him is either at some point you have to introduce him into the main fold. And
with the group.
And I don't see like anything that he would bring to that team to be any sort of asset.
You would always think like, he was, what is his specialty? But it's not like he doesn't, I don't know. He's kind of like a con man-ish type thingy. He's kind of...
Yeah, I guess he makes masks and he does like Hollywood makeup and effects and stuff.
Okay.
But
maybe he's Murdoch.
Oh, that's right.
Making masks. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with this. I don't know if it was... I have not been able to get a hold of the original pilot. I've been trying to look for that somewhere. So I would love to see if the execs go, you know what, we need to give MacGyver outside of the Phoenix Foundation. We got to ground him and give him, a life outside of this. But they're not really utilizing that. So it's kind of like, I don't know. And in a show like this, where you've got to cover so much ground with establishing a villain, the whole sequence, what they're doing, it's just wasted pages on a script.
I love Mac's interaction with Riley and Jack and even Thornton so much more than I care about any scenes that have Bowser involved with it. I'm just
and now they're kind of she's slowly giving him the digits to the phone number. I'm like, okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
But
But we still have at least 4 more interactions with him before they get to the end of it.
So
I'm
he's
like,
going to be around for a while.
oh, brother. But I've never seen sequences in a series that you could strip out and not lose anything.
That was the thing when I was thinking, thinking about the show. I was like, what are we talking about? I was like, he never came back. Her apartment never really...
I mean, she got it, like, after that little bit, she's like, oh, guess what? I already got my apartment already, and I got to move in.
Yeah, so I was like...
Oh, all right, that was it.
You could have come in and Thornton could have been like, how's the apartment? Oh, I got the apartment. Oh, okay, done. There we go. That scene is solved, but... yeah, it was a weird one.
Now, before we continue on the show, folks, I just want to remind you guys, if you guys want to just chime in about your thoughts about the show, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hop in the chat. I'm going to see if Zach can pull up the chat while we talk about the episode.
I should bring my computer next time.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
I'll be on top of that.
Yeah, look at that. Mike's
you run us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do the chat stuff. I love that stuff.
Oh, awesome. And one thing to ask in the chat is how you guys feel. I mean, for the past 5 weeks, I've been sharing my thoughts about Bozer as Max Remain, if he's needed for the show. So chime in, see what you guys think. Is he a necessary part, or could we just kind of quietly move him out? I could feel like if this gets picked up for a second season,
I
gotta imagine they would say.
I think that, I mean, I don't know if it's CBS likes the actor, because they do, because he was on Rush Hour, and that got dropped, but then they picked him right up, so I think they like him, so maybe it's one of those, maybe there's so many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to a network TV show, like so many people have a say, and so many, maybe there's just some execs that just love this guy, and they want him on their network, so... I mean, I've heard of crazier things on network television. So maybe every episode the writers are like, "Hey, we don't know what to do with this guy," and they're like, "Nope, John, up at 5th floor, he loves him. Write him a scene."
Oh, all right,
and
great.
All right, I'll write him a scene.
But I guess when you think like Alias, where Bradley Cooper's character, he was kind of basically on the outs. He didn't really know anything. He was a reporter.
Right.
I was a friend with Sydney, but didn't know her real life. But eventually they kind of made that way into part of the series. He was investigating.
That's a good analogy. But it made sense.
It did.
And he was always trying to uncover stuff and everything.
Yeah. And this one, he doesn't, I mean, you only see Bozer for the beginning part of it, and has no real impact on any other aspect of Mac's life. So you're like, all right, so why is he here?
Did they ever make that film that he was talking about?
No.
They never made that film, did they?
Nope, still. Oh, fingers crossed we get to see what that looks like.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But yeah, so Riley gets an apartment. She gives Bozer that 6th digit of her 10-digit phone number. And then we get to the real meat of what this episode is.
Yeah.
There is basically Joaquin El Noche Sancola. He's a former head of the Marina cartel, and he's been locked up. And since then, his lieutenants have been going crazy, killing DEA agents and their families and stuff. And so they got to find out where his lieutenants are being held.
It was almost like a episode of Law and Order where they take stories from current headlines and adapt it to their own, like the El Chapo. Is that El Chapo?
Yes.
Chapo, the guy they're always escaping. That's what I had this feel for this episode. I was like, oh, it's got that vibe to it. I was like, okay. It's so funny. It strikes me that almost every action-adventure episodic television show has to do a prison break episode. They all do it.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the first season, the 7th season, they all do it. I mean, it's budgetary very easy. You pretty much got one location the whole episode, and it's a race against time, race against the clock type episode, and it fits so well with these shows. So it's always interesting to see. Going in, I knew what the episode was of how it's going to work.
Because as soon as you know they're in, you want to know how they're going to get out.
Right. That's
especially
the cool
somebody
thing.
like MacGyver.
Yeah.
So he has to go in undercover. He's the only one of the 3 that'll go undercover. Of course, he's got a cover story.
Yeah.
No comms. No other communication with the outside world.
And look at Lucas Till. As an attractive man in a prison, that's a whole nother ball of wax you're dealing with right there. This guy, the minute he walked in and fresh meat comes into the yard, that's a, they didn't send Jack in there.
No.
Who would have been a better fit, but
I guess doesn't have the smarts maybe to break out.
Right. And so I think that's interesting, the two pairing of them, because I wasn't sold on him from the beginning. It seemed a little weird. His bravado seemed a little false to me, but I've really grown to like the two of them together.
I enjoy the relationship a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like parts I'd rather see more exploration of their chemistry and their backstory.
Yeah.
Now, do you buy his cover story that he's a mechanical engineer who ripped off a bank vault that he had designed?
I do.
So
he looks like that guy. Yeah, because it always seems like whenever a crew is breaking into a vault, they've got the tech guy that's kind of like not the macho guy, not the real killer guy. Kind of, that's especially the smart guy, and he fit that, I think, really well.
Like the guy from Die Hard, who's cracking the ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. What was his name?
Can't remember his name. He's got the glasses, and I can't remember.
Sweat. Argyle wasn't Ar? No, Argyle was the guy in the limo.
Oh yes, he was the limo driver. I can't remember his name, but yes.
Yeah, he had the glasses and the sweater. The sweater. Yeah, exactly, just like that.
Now he's got, and of course he has to go and leave him behind his Swiss Army knife. But I did like once he gets into the cell, for some reason he kept the paperclip key that he made.
Okay, now hold on a second. So he swipes the paperclip, and then he made it into a key right away, right?
Yeah.
And it was like perfect. Like, how did he do that?
I know, without anybody seeing? Okay, sure.
And he used the key to unscrew the bookcase, right? In the laundry room to make the ladder, so he really didn't need it to look like a key.
It's like, how did he know that it would? It would fit in that perfectly.
Was like, did they edit it differently? Hey, we need to see him take. Is it a matter of when they're editing, like, oh, we don't have a shot of him. We had to move the paperclip, but we never showed it again. What do you got? And they look through the footage, like, well, we got this where he molded it later in the episode. It's like, I throw that in there.
Yeah.
It didn't feel weird.
It's all right because through all these episodes, he's always at the beginning when he's getting debriefed what the mission's going to be. He always picks up a paperclip and he fashions it into something. I'm so tired of that.
Oh, okay. So maybe I've missed out on that.
Because like that's a repetitive thing where he always makes it into something and then like leaves it behind. Like, and then they always do like a nice insert shot of him like resting it down somewhere. You're like, ooh, this is like an explosion or something like this. I'm like,
do I get up to go get a drink or something every time this happens in the episode? I don't recall this. I think I'm getting so used to the formula of the show. Like, oh, here they are talking about the mission. I can go into my kitchen and listen to the mission. Yes. You know, so I don't know. Maybe that's my fault then.
You're missing his paperclip origami that he's doing.
Maybe, and then that explains it right then.
Yeah.
His paper. Okay, so they've established it, so I should not be surprised that it looked like a perfect key.
Now, would you, because I always feel like this is, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. When they say, all right, you're going to go in undercover, you have no communications. Of course, nobody knows who you really are. Even people on the inside don't know who you are. It always seems like that's just a recipe that, of course, you're going to, you're going to have to make your way out on your own with no help whatsoever.
Screwed. Yeah. This is, you're an attractive man in a prison. So this isn't going to go very well for you. But it's it raises the stakes, absolutely. So, but it was interesting. Now, okay, so he gets into prison. He's in there, and Riley. I like the little flashbacks.
Yes.
I like that. That was a nice way to deal with him being prepped for the mission, but not doing point A to point B to point C, and the through line of the story. But then, so she does have comms, and her idea was that she was going to unlock the doors and stuff for him.
Yes.
But then they get locked out of the system.
Yeah, I guess they did some security update overnight, and so her little back door that she thought she had was closed up.
Okay, see, I misinterpreted that. I thought someone had fixed something so that there was another operative, working back and forth. Like, oh, we were cut out. Someone did something. I thought there was going to be some wrinkle in the work here that someone was working against them.
Because the way she says that line's like, someone's just as good as me made sure that somebody like me couldn't get in there.
Yes, so I'm like, oh, okay. So in my head, I'm always thinking Murdoch because I know he's coming on. I was like, oh, is someone like 2 steps ahead of them?
I want to make sure that Mac definitely doesn't get out of the prison.
Right.
Alive.
So, but then it just turned out, like you said, it was a security update. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Convenient.
So great. Yeah.
Convenient.
So, of course, he doesn't have any access to that. And the idea is that he's supposed to get close to El Noche.
Yeah.
And the way you want
the night. Isn't Noche night? Yeah, Noche.
Yeah,
Buenas Noche.
And the way you want to do that is first you got to set your rep because nobody likes cowards in prison, as Riley says.
I always, when I'm told if I ever go to prison, you got to go up to the biggest guy in the yard and knock him out.
But I think it was cool to see Riley take that a step further to make sure, because you got to be careful who you pick, because if you pick the wrong person, you don't just fight them, but you find everybody else that's affiliated with them as well.
Anytime I see a prison, scene like that, I just know I can never go to prison. I never want to.
No.
But I'm just saying I will never do anything to get there, but I wouldn't do very well. I don't think, I see that in the yard and everything, and I'm just like, oh, God, no. And every time I see that in a movie or TV show, I'm just like, no, that does not look like a fun place at all.
Yeah.
That whole hierarchy and everything, and no, I have no desire to do that.
Yeah, it's no, because I feel like it's friends of mine that are doing like those cruise ship comedy tours and stuff. They say they always say your only options are you either get really fat or you get really buff, because there's nothing else to do on those cruise ships except eat or work out constantly.
Okay, that's probably it's what they do in prison. They're in their yard working out.
Yeah, so I figured, I don't know, I like to think that I'd get buff, but I don't know. Well, that food's not that great, so I don't think.
Was it meat with that something loaf they called it or whatever he was talking about, neutral loaf or? But so he's in the yard. And
Riley gives him the intel, like, this is the one guy you want to pick a fight with.
The big guy.
Because he doesn't have any buddies in there, so you can take him out and not have to worry about anybody else retaliating.
And I don't know if you knew this or recognized it. does everyone know that you work at Universal as well? We
Oh,
talk
sure.
about that?
Well,
yeah, we work together at Universal. I think that actor is the guy at Waterworld, the stunt guy.
Oh, really?
I think his name's Hank.
Oh, wow.
Hank Watts, I believe, because he looked really familiar.
Yeah.
I know that show shoots in Atlanta, but he's a giant of a man.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a specific casting. So I think that's him.
That's
so
cool.
If I see him, I'm going to ask him.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
did recognize him, but so yeah, they went for the big guy there.
Oh man, and like, because you think you get that intel. Because I guess a picture never tells you how big a guy is in real life.
Right, yeah.
When he gets off that bench, you're like, oh, jeez.
And Lucas, I don't. He seems like not a smaller guy, but you know,
wiry, maybe. I don't know. Just
wiry,
like,
but like I think like 5'6", 5'7". I could be completely wrong. He could be 6'2".
Yeah.
But that was. Yeah.
Oof.
He had to take some beatings there.
Yeah, and which is nice because you've seen him in other fights and he kind of does okay. And like this one, you kind of see like he's not as good as Jack when it comes to the fisticuffs.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, that he gets an ass whipping laid on him.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And I like him. So they finally break it up, and then Jack, roughs him up, and he's like, I gotta make it look real. And he starts banging him around a little bit. That's pretty funny.
I mean, I really like their chemistry there, where he does rough up and he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, and it's definitely, especially from the pilot, it's really seeing grow, and I'm so glad we get a full season to see where it goes with those guys.
Yeah, and just like they have such a great backstory, and just even the episodes a couple weeks ago when they're locked in the truck, and just watching that, I thought there were some nice character building moments between them as they're trying to escape. So he does get reffed up. In the meantime, though, Mac also kind of pays it forward a little bit with the older guy in prison too. He uses his spork to fix his asthma
break
inhaler.
the little spork off there. Helping the old fella out.
And I do like that the old guy is, I don't like going to anybody anything. So here's a piece of advice. You can't make any friends.
Yeah.
Here, don't do it. There's only enemies around you.
So that was interesting. But
Yeah.
but it was, cool to see.
Yeah. So he does finally get hooked up with El Noche. Jack ends up getting into the
work
I do like it where Jack makes it seem like getting into the computer
I mean,
was
I
so
like
easy.
that she called him Forrest Gump, right?
Yes.
At one point, I was like, he's almost borderline Gumpy when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, it's 2017 almost. We all know computers, like the folder in the corner. It's not. He's like the folder on the desk. And, all right, go to the folder on the desktop, and he's just like. I don't think that guy would survive as long as he has without knowing that stuff.
true.
He kind of played him like a dummy.
I did like he's like I knew his password so easy. Jail. It's like it was in sleep mode. You could have pressed any key on there and it would have popped on.
He's just typing jail.
Great, yeah, of course.
It's tough. They have to thread a fine line with him between being incompetent and just being not of the technical world. It's a fine line they got to walk with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't see him like a general. If you looked at him, I don't consider him as a general idiot, but just I guess he's not technically savvy.
Right.
So, but he's good
But he's
a fight or a gun guy.
Yeah, he's a military
I'll take
guy.
that. So he gets put on the same work detail in the laundry room with El Noche, and then finds out that El Noche's rival gang, is trying to encroach on his business.
Yeah, they want a piece of the action.
Yeah, and he was so mad, because El Noche headbutts the guy, and then Mac just jumps in to kind of see like, hey, I'm on your side too.
The odds there.
Yeah, and then El Noche was just so mad at him for doing that. I'm like, why? You had 5 guys that were in this room trying to beat you up.
I don't know. He just wanted help from the little guy. It was weird, but I'm like, well, guy just kind of helped you out there. I don't know if they would have killed him, but Mac had to kind of ingratiate himself with El Noche.
Yeah, and I guess the deal is that he does tell El Noche, hey, guess what? I've got a way to escape, and if you pay me $2 million, I'll get you out too.
Right.
And he doesn't seem so keen on it at first.
And I liked how he did like kind of like a pan and scan of the room to see stuff that he would need that he didn't use right then. Like the extinguisher he took note of, and the whole rack of chemicals that they had. That was kind of cool because he'd probably never been in there before. So I like that little edit of surveying the room was nice.
Yeah, because it's cool because he so prides himself like being able to improvise in the moment. But I feel like even improvising in the moment, it's like that's tough to do. But if you scan the room first and then kind of have a chance to go back to your cell and reflect, then you come up with your kind of strategy.
It's tough because he's so young, casting-wise, that you have to remember how smart he is. Like, there's just something about Richard Dean Anderson being, like, I think he was in his mid-30s when he did the show. He just felt like a man that had more experience as opposed to a kid. But, I mean, there are kids today that are, 18, 19 years old that are brilliant geniuses, So it's just, it's a little sometimes weird for me to watch.
I can understand that.
In a weird way. Like, yeah, it's tough. It's hard to explain.
No, I can see that because certainly see, as you say, as he walks into the prison, you feel like, boy, this kid seems really young to be in this maximum security penitentiary.
Right. But he's MacGyver.
Yeah, he does it.
He's got his MIT and his all this and that. So hey, who might argue?
So the idea is that he does run into Jack during a little morning shakedown there. Says, hey, guess what? I need these supplies from you. And Jack goes to get them, but he gets intercepted by one of the officers and says, get to D block. We need you over there.
You got bamboozled there.
Yes.
Right in the middle of the trying to help him out.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Riley's like, hey, we got to get him out of here. Right. And I do like that Thornton and Jack, they realized, like, you know what, Mac, he's smart enough that he could do this even without any assistance.
And I liked her constant panic. Not panic, but she knows what prison will do.
Yeah, she's been there 2 years.
Yeah, so I like that. It added not just a layer of they had to get out, but it was just another level of tension that you normally don't get in an episode like this. Usually it's just the crew in the jail trying to get out, but now we had an outside force that is pretty much hands are tied, can't do anything to help him, but she knows exactly what he's going to start going through.
Yeah, it would have been interesting just to have a beat of Jack and Thornton, like, all right, yeah, I mean, maybe you could, giving her a little reassurance, like, I know you've been there for 2 years and it was rough, but I mean, Mac is a tough guy. It was basically like, nah, he's going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Riley's been there for 2 years.
Right, yeah.
Clearly she's affected
knows.
by this.
Right.
But then El Noche gets transferred into Mac's cell, and I do like Mac realizing
he pulled the favor, right?
Yes.
El Noche said, this is my last favor I got, so I'm here.
Yeah, and if you don't get me out,
we're in trouble.
Yeah, you won't be leaving this cell. But I do like that even without Jack telling Mac that he can't get the stuff to him, Mac realizes, like, this has been way too long. Yeah. Jack can't get the stuff. I got to figure out something to do it myself.
And bumped into the guard, looked like a taser he picked off of him or something?
He got a battery from that. Yeah. And then he got like the Neutraloaf.
Yeah. And, it's okay. And I apologize if you've talked about this already, but I'm so curious to see if this stuff would work. Because, like, I'm not one to argue. I have no idea if, you can make gas through hydrogen, through water, and with a battery, electrocutes. What's that? Not electricizes. It catalyzes
so that you can make a chemical reaction.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows if it'll work? But you wonder if the writers actually research this, or if just like, oh, this sounds good, we'll put this together and that'll work.
I think because if it's very similar like the burn notice, because I always know the producers for that would say, they would say they'd always leave a thing or two out of the actual way you do something.
So it wouldn't.
Yeah, so if somebody watching at home,
you
couldn't do the same thing, but it was close enough that you could for the narrative you could sell.
There you go. Okay.
So I'm
not going to try this at home, Frank. Don't get worried.
You're not going to get your Neutraloaf?
No, I'm not going to try and make my bathroom explode at home.
Well, darn it. That's I wanted to see the front door of your apartment just boom.
Coming the next day, my eyebrows are gone. I have a patch missing hair. What happened, Mike? Do some yard work.
Yeah. I was watching MacGyver last night. I just wanted to see if it was possible.
I just want to try.
But I do like El Noche's line where he says, after he's letting the battery sit there in the toilet, is your toilet ready? They're like, oh, yep, it's ready. So the idea is they're going to use this. Oh.
Had he started yet? Called him smart guy. Smart guy.
Yes.
I don't think he used it yet, but he started going on that. That's pretty cool.
Because it's one thing
to funny.
I guess it's one thing to hear the guy talking about, but when you see like the door actually explodes, you're like, all right, I guess this guy does know what he's doing.
You know what was cool? I did like that where they talked about the pressure and your eardrums and stuff, because I remember in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, that when who knows what's talking about it, but they said when at the beginning opening scene, Black Widow drops a grenade or Crossbones drops a grenade inside that ATV, the metal thing, and she just used the guy as a shield, and the door blew open. Someone was saying it's like her ears would have been bleeding, her nose would have been bleeding from the pressure in that. And sometimes it was a cool scene, but in this movie they addressed that.
Yeah.
Like, so I that added a level of realism to it to me. I was like, that was really cool and smart. No, so I enjoy the writing in this show a lot, where sometimes certain things don't make sense, but then it's attention to detail like that I really enjoy, that brings me into the show.
For sure. And we also see that Mac tells El Noche his cover backstory.
Yeah.
It seems like he kind of buys it, at least in the moment.
Yeah, he's like,
but he only buys it until they get a guard that's going to come in and find them, and El Noche is going to just use a shiv and stab him. And Mac stops that. Right,
which was that goes against what Mac's code, doesn't want to kill and stuff, and but I think it fits his backstory. It wasn't just you know.
Yeah, because El Noche was saying like somebody in your position wouldn't care.
Right.
Like,
I'm like,
how do you know that?
because he said, like, what did he say? Because he's been in prison. I don't remember if they ever addressed how long Mac's sentence is now. But he's like, oh, man, facing the time you're facing, you wouldn't care if you killed someone. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in there with a life sentence.
No, and I think it's pretty presumptuous that because I mean he's
Very presumptuous.
He robbed a bank.
Right.
It wasn't like he tried to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like
He's not like El Noche where like, dude, you're going to be here for the rest of your life, 20 lifetimes. So kill someone, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that was a little.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I was like, all right, easy. Stop judging it from your perspective, El Noche. Come on.
Yeah, not if it's as terrible as you, sir.
But I do like, so they get into the laundry room. They fashion a bunch of the ropes together.
Right.
And he makes a cryogenic gel out of carbon dioxide and alcohol.
This one I want to try at home.
That looked, I was like, really?
So
Is that all you need?
I know. That sounds like you're making, like to freeze metal out of just this stuff that's all around there?
It's like, boy, why aren't more people doing that? If it's just,
You know there's some warden at home that watches MacGyver, he's like, oh, all right, laundry room, all these chemicals, get it out. Not having a prison break on my watch.
No alcohol near these
Sir,
fire
why do you think
extinguishers.
this? I saw MacGyver last night. Really? Hey. I heard from a friend of a friend these things are true, so let's clean out the laundry room.
I guess should we do our own like MythBusters about MacGyver?
That's right.
Where
That's
every
right.
week we'll
MythBusters. Just MythBusters guys out there. Have they ever done a MacGyver? That seems to me like that would be like a whole week's worth of episodes of MythBusters.
Oh yes.
MacGyver, for God's sakes, they took the Phantom, the character of the Phantom, and he had a skull ring and he punched someone in the face and leaves the mark. They did that on the show to prove that false. They have got to do MacGyver. They have to, right?
Did it leave anything on the guy's face other than a
little
bruise?
a little red mark.
That was it, but no kind of like.
You didn't see the skull. No, it's fake.
That's check out Mike and I's new YouTube series where we just either prove or disprove all of MacGyver's tips and tricks that he does every episode.
That's the show. We'll do it.
Yes.
We'll film us out somewhere testing these things. In other news,
we'll get
two Los Angeles males killed themselves imitating the show MacGyver.
What a way
show
to go.
goes off the air because our family sue them and turns into a whole big thing.
I'm sorry, guys. Lucas Till's mad at us, like these two jerks.
It's like the not to make light of it, but back in the 70s or whatever, they had the Fantastic Four cartoon, and they got rid of the Human Torch because a kid set himself on fire. And they had to replace it with Herbie the Robot. But I mean,
and that I thought was like the low point of the Fantastic Four as a franchise. Like Herbie the Robot, come on now.
We're gonna have to MacGyver's gonna have to put a disclaimer on it because of you and I.
Yeah,
because of these two idiots.
The things that MacGyver uses in these episodes are for narrative purposes only. Please do not try these at home. All right, thanks. So once they get out of there, though, Mac has the idea like, hey, we're just going to throw some sheets over the side to kind of think that they went down while we go up.
Because at first I'm like, oh, they're going to end up cut the crap and stuck, like hanging. But they went the other way.
Smart thinking.
This show likes to do that, and I like that. Like the first beginning of the episode, the little teaser was like, oh, I think they're going to make a net and trap them. No, they did the whole gasoline circle.
Yeah.
So this was just like, oh, okay, there we go.
And it did make me laugh, though, because the idea was that Mac approaches El Noche and says, all right, I can get us out, but after that, it's up to you to get us out of the country.
Right.
And get me set up in a house. That's kind of his...
he wanted a house.
Yeah.
It was his thing.
I just want a house, guys. That's all I want. A house in Mexico. But I like when they finally get out of the prison, they just happen to be conveniently in the right spot that El Noche's men are just hiding just around those trees.
Just kind of came out. I was just kind of like... just hanging out there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be all the way. Maybe
you
on
didn't
the
like
other side.
run. You didn't show them running like like the fugitive, just running away from the prison. Meet them a couple miles away. They seemed like they were right there.
They seemed like there's, and so we lets out that whistle and they just come right out. I'm like, what if they're on the other side?
I mean, I wonder if that was kind of like just to show how powerful El Noche is. Even though he's in jail, he still has connections to his people and can get them where he needed them at the right time.
Now, I imagine there was probably. El Noche's smart. He probably set up pockets all around every side of the prison there. So whoever hears my whistle first, come at me. The other guys are still out there waiting.
Wait for the whistle.
Yeah.
Wait for the whistle, guys.
The other guys are still waiting. Is he going to whistle? I don't know. Should we stay?
Did you hear that? I don't know. I think it was a bird.
Did we go?
If we don't come out in time, kill the effect.
But then El Noche doesn't buy Mac's backstory. No. It's like, you didn't try to kill this guy, so they knock him unconscious.
Typical backstabber. Waited until they were out to do that whole business.
And it takes him down to his little secret hideout, what they're trying to find. But they can't. He taken him across the border in a sedan, which, for all the camera purposes, they all look very similar.
Right. You know, and they used the one certain camera angle, so it did look as like, how are they going to find him?
Yeah.
Max stuck in the trunk, being smart, and Morse code he was doing on the
taillight.
On the taillights.
Look at him go.
Which that to me I think would work.
I think
Who hasn't been stuck in a trunk? Am I right?
Yeah, guys.
Am I
that's
right?
Yeah, all right.
What was that movie? Oh God, what was it? Cellular with Chris Evans and was it Halle Berry, and she was trapped in a car. I think she popped the taillight out and poured paint out the window, so it was dripping paint all through the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Was it a good movie?
Very good movie.
Oh, I should check that
But
out.
I think I mean I've been in my laying in my trunk, but I've changed taillights and stuff in the back, so I think that's a thing that could happen.
Oh, Mike is prepared for when
I don't
he
know
gets
Morse
abducted.
code. I don't know Morse code at all. I'd be screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I don't know it. I don't understand it. It's just the dots and the dashes, but I don't get it.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I guess I wouldn't get it either, but I guess I would probably keep making like just random like stuff, hoping that somebody who's watching goes like, that taillight's flickering a lot. Maybe that's
what
something
is
we
it?
should pay attention.
I kind of got a beat to it too.
It's gibberish, but should we pay attention to it? I don't know.
I don't remember. They just kind of jumped ahead. They did the Phoenix Foundation, those guys, did they notice the tail light? I didn't see that.
No, they didn't. Max thought it was like, I hope somebody notices this, and that was it. Kind of leaving you hanging.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, I don't remember. I went back and I was like, no, they didn't skip a beat of them. Hey, that tail light.
Yeah.
There was no. Because would that have seemed too obvious to the audience watching it? Going,
Yeah.
we just have to infer that it'll work, and
Yeah, because I guess then it kind of, yes, that's up the audience. Like, oh my gosh, did somebody find out? Are they gonna be able to rescue him in time?
yeah.
Because now he's getting nitro boarded.
Which was interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of this technique, but I assume it's true, where they use nitrogen gas to kind of simulate that feeling of drowning.
You feel like you're drowning, but you're not drowning.
Yeah. Oof. I guess Mike and I'll be trying that out on our YouTube series.
Drowning to me, that's one of the ways that you don't want to go. Like drowning, yeah, no, that's terrible. That to me, that way of death.
Yeah. No.
Nope.
That's just new. No. Sounds very creepy, but the idea is like they keep pushing this nitrogen mask on his face.
Yeah, to make him
kind
of cough up where he's going to be, what's going on with who he works for, and now that's what he said. Didn't he say something like, "Oh God, how did he?" I don't know what he was saying about like I know everyone that was trying to get me, and I've never found you, or no one's warned me about you. So who are you? What did he say in that point? He was kind of like. He knew he knows all the players on the board basically that are after him, and he's never heard of Mac. So I don't know what you're after. I don't know why you try to get out to me. So who are you? That was kind of cool.
And so before he can get too much further, after like one hit, he goes, "All right, I'll keep doing this. I'll come back."
Yep.
The copters come.
Yep.
Mac gets the upper hand where he is able to knock over the canister on the ground and knock off the top of the nozzle, so it flies all around and takes out all the guards.
I think it had a bit of video game logic at this point, because that happens in video games all the time. You shoot the little top off and gas can will go everywhere. It looked a little cartoony. It's like boom, 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 hit all the guys perfectly, and he's just laying there. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
Because I would think if you kicked off the nozzle, it's just going to go in a straight line.
Or just keep it on the ground and just kind of like hit the sofa and then knock a guy trips. But this thing was in the air, different angles everywhere. And it wasn't like it was a little can. This was like a 4-foot tall can. But hey, I mean,
I guess it worked.
Okay, okay.
All right. I think that's probably by the end. It's like, guys, we just gotta make that canister go everywhere, so we can get to the end. We just gotta get it done. And so it takes out all the guards except for one, and then Jack comes and knocks that guy out.
Yeah.
So the day is saved.
But the other DEA showed up and.
Yeah. And what was interesting for El Noche not knowing who he is, his real name.
Right.
Once Mac goes and visits him in prison, he also knows his name and what his deal is. Like, how did you find this out?
That was weird, but I liked that scene.
Yes.
Because it was like, what did he say? I'll be waiting, or I'll be ready, or God, MacGyver says like, I've got friends everywhere.
Yeah,
this and that, and he says like, was it like I can't wait to meet them or something?
Yeah,
that was such a cool moment for him. I
did
like that.
Because Mac tells El Noche it's like because there's a $4 million bounty on his head.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh wow, $4 million bounty. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah.
And he says, but somebody's ever going to be able to collect because DEA and the federales, they closed down your business, so you're broke.
Yeah, you're done.
He's like, you know what? I maybe have no money, but I have friends that owe me favors.
That's good. That's good accent.
It was El Noche.
That's good,
right
man.
there. And then as you're saying, Max is like, I can't wait to meet him.
It wasn't like oh, screw you, the final dig at him. He was just like, all right, this is my game. I play it. You want to come and join my team, go against me? All right, wait for it. I accept your challenge.
Yeah.
I like that. He was like, that was the MacGyver I want to see more of. That not cocky, he's good at what he does. He knows what he does, and he's got a team that backs him, and I just like that I hope they go more in that direction with him.
It'd be cool, and I'll be curious to see when they decide to pick up that little breadcrumb, because that's a cool little thing you could drop in any episode where somebody tries to go get.
And I thought
some
about that
payback.
because that actor I'd never seen that played El Noche. I've never seen him before. Huge role, guest star on the role episode, but it is definitely someone that could come back, or could be a potential big bad again somewhere.
Yeah.
Or maybe MacGyver gets close to someone and she gets kidnapped because it's him. That's a nice character to have. And the actor, I really like the actor on the show.
Yeah,
so.
It's just always something that the writers room have in their back pocket
Yes.
to be able to add into
you don't
something.
want to always kill off every episode villain or something. So it's nice to see.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
The episode ends with Mac thanking Riley for all her help, because she knows, like, hey, I barely survived 6 days and you did 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that was outside the prison, because then
Yes.
she stayed back and had a little
moment to reflect.
they should have gone back to the apartment and had a meet with a roommate.
Great.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't fit.
Yes.
Like, technically, or you would think in shows like this where they have that character, they always end up, the last scene is back at the place.
Yep.
What happened to you, man? I haven't seen you for 6 days. Oh man,
I know.
Yeah, I got held up. Some quip about being in jail. I'm not a writer, so I can't think of anything funny right now. But that's what you would expect. But it would have killed it.
No, for sure.
It
Because this is a nicer moment between those two characters, Riley and Mac. I want to see that little moment there.
I almost would have liked to have seen it end at the line in the prison's like, I'll be waiting for it. Walks out of the prison.
And that's it. See
Credits. That would have worked great for me too. But you needed that bit there. So it brings us back to the roommate.
Yeah.
I just.
Because there's an episode earlier this season, if you watched it, where they kind of meet like their older versions of themselves, the Russian older versions of themselves.
Maybe that's the one I.
Where the episode ends with Riley and the older version of MacGyver. They're back at the old folks' home, and they just have a moment where they're kind of hanging out. And Riley realizes, like, "Hey, you kind of lonely. I'll come out and visit you."
Yeah.
Like, that was a nice way to end that episode. We didn't need to go back, like
Right,
you're saying, to the apartment and kind of
Yes.
touch him with Bozer.
Yeah, see, Bozer, I don't remember him from the original series. I know he's in it, but I don't know if he showed up till later. I think he showed up. There were 7 seasons, so I think he was 5 or 6.
Oh man, he's like the cousin Oliver of MacGyver.
Yeah, so it's like, and I don't even remember. I don't remember him. I remember Murdoch. I remember Dalton. All these characters, Thornton, but I don't remember Bozer at all. So I don't know what he brought to the show then, and to have him in the show.
Now,
I don't know. I really can't speak to that.
as somebody that watched more of the old school series,
Yeah.
Thornton, what I like about this version of Thornton, that how active she is in the field.
Yes.
Is she very much like that? Is that character very much like that in the original series?
Not as much. He was an older guy, white guy. Dana Elcar, I believe his name was. But and as the show got
he's the
older,
one who had glaucoma, right?
glaucoma. So they
Yes.
worked that into the show.
Okay.
Dalton was much more active, but also not nearly as. He was, I'm not saying out of shape guy, but whereas George Eads is a bit more in shape.
Yeah.
Their version of it was not.
He's more the bumbling kind of like.
Kind of not sidekick. It's a bad word. Not a con man. Kind of like a con man-ish. More use with his mouth and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Get them out of the tight spots.
So that brings us to the end of this episode, but we've got a few minutes left to do little predictions and talk about coming weeks.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so...
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I like that. So this was episode 7,
Yes.
and they got 22.
Yes.
And I am surprised they've not taken a break between these 7 yet. Because it almost seems like... And maybe, actually, I shouldn't say that, because every show I've been watching lately has not been doing that. But it always seemed like for years, maybe it's because I was just focusing on like Arrow and Flash and stuff, they would do like 4 episodes, have 2 off. And maybe that's because we had sports,
Yes.
like World Series, or maybe the election might... Certain shows will not air that week, so they'll air a week later. But MacGyver's not had that break yet.
No, and yeah, maybe because it's on Friday night, so it's not having a lot of other conflicts.
That's true. So I think we'll have... The break should be at 13, which should bring us...
Although
usually-
like Thanksgiving weekend, I bet you there won't be one.
Okay.
That Black Friday, I bet you there won't be an episode that airs.
And usually they do time like they'll do like a Thanksgiving episode and a Christmas episode, which
Yes.
I'm excited for. I love. If anyone that does know me knows my love of Christmas.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, they've nicknamed Twitter has nicknamed me Mikey Christmas. That's my thing.
That's your nickname?
Oh, yeah.
Mikey Christmas.
Twitter came up with that. I did not. But I've always
now, is it
loved.
Mikey Christmas or Mikey Xmas?
I've seen it multiple ways.
Okay.
But I've always loved holiday episodes of TV shows. I love them. I just it gets me in the mood because you're watching it. It's during the holidays. It's the sets are always decorated in the shows for Christmas. I love those, so I'm excited for those. I'm curious to see. So if it's 22 episodes, if they'll break right at 12. So that means we've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 more. Which, if they miss Thanksgiving, might put us around mid-December. And then they'll go on hiatus.
So things that we've kind of got introduced on the board right now. Of course, we get Nikki and whoever this organization that she's working for.
Yeah.
She's kind of, she's out. She's
That
out in the
was a
open.
weird character.
And then we also have this El Noche and his kind of cartel of people that
I
could be
think
chasing
Nikki
them.
was on the old show too.
Oh, interesting.
Because he had kind of a love interest. I'll look that up for you guys next
Okay.
week. Yeah, I'll go back and look into that. I think that character, they introduced a love interest for MacGyver, and I think her name was Nikki.
It would make sense, I guess, if they wanted to kind of play some kind of version of that
Right,
in this new
yeah.
series. And then we also have MacGyver's dad's kind of stuff that's kind of been tossed in the air where he wrote him that letter.
Right.
So we have, and then we have the introduction of Murdoch next episode.
Yeah,
So
that's
those are kind
gonna
of
be-
things that we have kind of juggling around the season. How much of that you think you'll see being paid off by the end of the season? How much of that is just like, well, maybe next season's going to blow it over?
It's always like when from people that I know that are writers, they've always put those kernels out. They've got their arc for the season, but what will we decide by the end of episode, season 1? The dad thing, I don't know. I think there was talk for a while that was Richard Dean Anderson. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
But that might have fallen through now because he said no to the show. So maybe they're held off on that. The Murdoch thing, I think, has got to come soon. I mean, next week, he's got to. I would like to have seen a couple more, like we're saying in this episode. Like maybe they got back and they're like, "Hey, so when I lost comms there, someone else was doing this.
Yeah.
It wasn't just something random." So there's this through line of this undercurrent of this man kind of always trying to thwart them at every stop
that'd be cool.
over episodes for a season where they finally reveal Murdoch because he is the big bad for MacGyver. He's always they're always there because then you bring him in, then they've got the episodes where they're thrown together and they've got to work together. There's such a plethora of episodes of story ideas that work when you've got a great villain. So I hope he's a great actor in the role. But I'm excited to see him come into it because those are always the best on the old show. The Mac and Murdoch show, episodes were always the best.
Oh man, and that we don't have much to wait, just 7 short days. I would figure like the dad thing. I could see them doing something at the end of the season where he opens like the dad's captured or something. Mac's got to save him, and we see. The end of the episode ends on a cliffhanger where he opens the door and we just see Mac's face and he says "Dad," or we see the dad from behind, and then they use the summer break to cast.
Oh, so you think that's going to be the big?
And then we come
absolutely.
back second season like, hey, guess what? We cast this big name person. He's
Yeah.
gonna be Mac's dad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. To see, did he work? Doing what he does now I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, don't you feel like we should at this time know? Well, hopefully sometime this month in the next few weeks we find out a little bit more about Nikki's organization that she's working for because it was such a prevalent part of the pilot.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like it's so weird. Like
Yeah, it just.
we don't at least even if we're not finding Nikki, at least knowing the broader organization that she worked for.
Right. Now, how many times has she come back since then? I'm trying to think. I don't.
We haven't seen her yet.
The ones I haven't missed anything yet because I have not seen her back.
No.
Because it was such the big reveal at the end there.
Yeah. So she's gone in the wind, but he's tried to track her down, but we've never actually seen her yet.
I apologize because I'm really trying to think if she was either just a love interest or if she was a foil to him in the original series, where she did work for an evil organization. But I could have sworn they were together,
Like a Batman Catwoman kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think it was more love interest, straight love interest. I think this show's doing a nice twist on it. But yeah, I don't know why she's not back, and I don't know if those one of the ones because a lot of times when they film pilots, by the time mid-season, it's completely changed. So I don't know if that's a thread that they didn't want to pick up anymore.
Oh man, I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode of the MacGyver After Show. But you're going to have to wait 7 days to find out what we think about next week's episode. In the meantime, folks, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hop in the chat. Mike's going to have his computer here next week, pulling up your comments online. We'll be able to find out what you guys are thinking in the moment right there.
I love doing that stuff. It's fun.
That'd be cool. In the meantime, folks, if you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show's over, Mike, where can they find you?
You can find me at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter. I'm a host for the DC Movie News right here on the Popcorn Talk Network, as well as kind of an offshoot of that called Character Corner. It's where we kind of go into DC, a little encyclopedia knowledge for people that are just becoming introduced to these characters. And I kind of geek out a little bit with them and fill them in on that. So I'm having a blast doing that stuff with the guys. So that's where I am here.
That's awesome. And I didn't realize Mikey Christmas.
Mikey, it's gonna. You guys, you'll hear more about it. I'm sure you'll see people's pictures, and as we get into the holidays, I'll start bringing food into here. All the stuff that I bake. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those guys that the day after Halloween, like I'm in the stores taking pictures with all the Halloween, Christmas stuff that's up. I don't put my tree up on anything yet. I wait till like a couple days after Thanksgiving.
Cool, man.
But this whole time of year is my favorite. It's going to be awesome.
In the meantime, folks, you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie, and we'll see you next week right here on AfterBuzz TV for another episode of the MacGyver After Show. Take care, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.